Let me make the point in one other way. In my last year as president, we had a network of countries supporting the profoundly important scientific research of sequencing the human genome so that we would understand the very basis of life. And we finished in 2000. And we had this great announcement. I was in the White House. Tony Blair was at 10 Downing Street. We had people from all over the world. I had all the ambassadors from all the countries that had contributed there in Asia and Latin America and Europe. And we were all involved. And we celebrated it. And then we began to learn things about our genetic makeup. From a political point of view, the most important thing we learned was this. Every difference you can see among all of us in this room, except age-related differences, every non-age-related difference you can see, the color of our skin, the color of our eyes, the shape of our bodies, even our race, the color of our skin, everything is the result of differences that are contained in between 0.5% and 0.1% of our genome. In other words, all of us are at least, from a biological point of view, 99.5% identical, the same. And yet, all of us spend 99.5% of our time thinking about the other 0.5%, don't we? I mean, not even about politics. I see you guys from Montenegro. I wish I were taller. I see the young people. I wish I were thinner. It's just human nature, isn't it? Here we are on this little planet, hurtling through our lives, spending all of our time thinking about what is different. And almost none of our time thinking about the fact that, after all, we're almost entirely the same biologically. Last year, there was another great discovery, late last year, saying that unless you are 100% descendant from sub-Saharan Africans, that is, you've not got anybody in your line back 100,000 years who's not a sub-Saharan African, if you have any other non-African blood in you, between 1% and 4% of your genome is inherited from our pre-human ancestors, the Neanderthals. Because outside of Africa for 40 years, Neanderthals and humans walked the earth together. They were bigger than we were, stronger than we were, had bigger brains than we did. They couldn't speak, but the reason they died out is probably because we could run and they couldn't. And we could run away from the giant mammals that then, and other animals that stalked the earth. Well, here's the thing. In America, at least, if you say someone's a Neanderthal, it's like saying they're backward and coarse and heavy-handed. So my wife and daughter were not at all surprised to learn that I am part Neanderthal. They were, however, stunned to learn that they were part Neanderthal. I say this, you say, what's that got to do with this? Everything. If you think about the past instead of the future, you're a prisoner. And if you think about only what's different from you, then you're so narrow you can't build the shared future. Look, what's different is important. What's different gave us Albert Einstein. What's different gave us Nelson Mandela. What's different gives us everything that's special and neat and wonderful. But it's not as important as what we have in common if we propose to share the future. We have to have a sense of our common humanity. That's what makes networking work. The intrinsic trust that the creativity and goodwill and forward thinking that all of us can bring to the table can make a difference. That's what I pray for the Balkans. You know, when I get on an elevator in New York City, and a young man or woman looks at me working in this hotel trying to make a little money to go to school and says, I'm from Kosovo. I'm from Albania. I go to Cleveland and someone comes up and says, I'm from Serbia or I'm from Croatia. When someone comes up to me and says, it's in a classroom, says, I'm from Bosnia, thank you for stopping the killing in my country. My heart soars, and all I wish is that the way they feel about their lives would infect all the people back home where they come from. That's what I ask you to think about. Look, if we deal with the objective problems, if we care more about the future than the past, and if we're not arrogant, if we remember that our differences really matter a lot and they make life interesting, but what we have in common matters more, we're going to be just fine. And the future will be great.